The champagne flute shattered against the hardwood floor of the reception hall, shards flying like accusations as my mother's laughter drowned out the crash. "To new beginnings," she toasted again. Her arm looped through Richard's, oblivious to the way my hand trembled empty at my side. In that split second, as the crowd gasped and turned, I saw it in her eyes. Not concern for me, but annoyance, like I dared to interrupt her perfect day. I bolted from the ballroom before the apologies could stick, the cool October air of Cincinnati slapping my face as I stumbled into the hotel garden. My tie choked me like a noose, and tears burned hot, blurring the string lights into mocking stars. 22 years old, and here I was, crashing my own mother's wedding because being invisible hurt worse than being seen. That's when I heard the footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, crunching gravel behind me. Richard, my almost stepfather, the man who'd swept into our lives like a Midwest storm, paused at the edge of the shadows. "Kid," he said, voice rough as gravel. "You gonna let one glass define the night, or you want to talk about why you're really out here alone?" His words hung in the air like the faint scent of his aftershave, sandalwood and something earthier, like fresh-cut lumber from the construction sites he managed. I wiped my face with the back of my hand, tasting salt and regret. "It's not the glass, Richard. Everything." My voice cracked, betraying the tough guy facade I'd been practicing in the mirror since high school. When I first realized the boys in gym class made my stomach flip in ways the girls never did. He didn't flinch, didn't back away like the uncles who'd side-eyed me at family barbecues. Instead, he shrugged off his suit jacket and draped it over my shoulders, the fabric warm from his body heat. "Fair enough. Name's Rick to most folks, but since you're family now, sort of, call me whatever sticks." He lit a cigarette, the flame flickering orange against his weathered face, lines etched deep from years under Ohio suns. 45, broad-shouldered, with salt and pepper hair cropped military short and eyes the color of Lake Erie on a stormy day. Mom had met him at a hardware store expo in Columbus, said he was solid, like oak. I'd nodded politely, but inside, I'd braced for the inevitable. Another man in our fractured home, another layer of silence around the parts of me she pretended not to see. We sat on a stone bench, the garden's fountain bubbling like it was whispering secrets. I stared at my scuffed loafers, the ones I'd bought on clearance at the mall, because Mom insisted on looking sharp for the wedding. "You know why I dropped it?" I finally muttered. "Because she looked at me, right before the toast, like I was the help, not her son, just the gay kid she wishes would vanish into the woodwork." Rick exhaled smoke slowly, watching it curl toward the stars. "Your mom, she's got her reasons for jumping into this. Lost your dad young, scraped by waitressing doubles to keep that roof over your heads. Me? I'm no savior, but I see a woman fighting like hell to feel whole again." He paused, flicking ash into the dirt. "Doesn't make it right, ignoring the fight in you." I glanced up, surprised. Mom had downplayed my coming out last year. Over dinner at our cramped kitchen table in the suburbs, I'd blurted it after one too many beers from a college party. "I'm gay, Mom. Have been for a while." She'd frozen, fork midway to her mouth, then forced a smile. "Well, honey, as long as you're happy. No questions, no hugs. Just that." And now, with Rick in the picture, the silences stretched longer, her eyes darting away whenever I mentioned friends from the campus LGBTQ group at UC. "You're not wrong," Rick said, stubbing out his smoke. "But running? That just hands them the win." He stood, offering a calloused hand. "Come on, let's get you back in there before she sends out a search party. And hey, tomorrow breakfast, my treat, waffles at that diner on Vine Street. No ties required." I took his hand, the grip firm, steadying something inside me I didn't know was shaking. As we walked back, the party's muffled jazz spilling out, I wondered if this was pity or something real. Either way, it was the first time in months someone had looked at me like I mattered. The weeks blurred into a tentative rhythm after the wedding. Mom and Rick honeymooned in Florida for a long weekend, beaches and piña coladas. She posted on Facebook with heart emojis, leaving me to house-sit our two-story colonial on the edge of Hyde Park. The place felt echoey without her humming show tunes while cooking spaghetti, But I filled the quiet with late-night shifts at the coffee shop and scrolling Grindr profiles I never messaged. College was on pause. I dropped out after freshman year when tuition bit too hard, chasing barista gigs and vague dreams of graphic design. Gay in Cincinnati, it was like being the only rainbow in a gray sky. Possible, but you learned to blend. Rick moved in upon their return, his duffels thumping down the stairs like declarations. Boxes of tools and flannel shirts cluttered the garage, and suddenly our fridge stocked Coors and venison jerky alongside Mom's yogurt parfaits. She glowed, chattering about our little family. But the glow dimmed when I was around. Dinners became minefields. Her asking Rick about work, him sharing stories of building custom decks for McMansions in Indian Hill, me nodding along, invisible as the salt shaker. One rainy Tuesday, Rick cornered me in the kitchen while Mom napped upstairs, her nurse shifts at the hospital draining her. "Waffles, kid. You ghosted me." He leaned against the counter, arms crossed over a faded Steelers tee, the one with holes at the hem from years of wear. I poured coffee, black as my mood. "Yeah, well, life's a grind. Shifts overlap with your 9 to 5s. I dodged because showing up felt like admitting I needed the lifeline. He snorted, grabbing a mug. "Bull. You think I don't see the way she skirts around you? Like you're a spill she can't mop up." His voice dropped, confidential. "Look, I ain't your dad. God rest him. But I know what it's like to feel sidelined. Grew up in a steel mill town outside Pittsburgh. Dad drank. Mom prayed it away. Learned early. Family's what you build, not what's handed down." I sipped, the bitterness grounding me. And what if the blueprint's flawed? Mom. She loves me, I think. But this. I gestured vaguely at myself, the unspoken queerness hanging heavy. It's like I'm the glitch she ignores. Rick's jaw tightened, a muscle ticking. Then we fixed the damn thing, starting with those waffles. Saturday, 8 a.m. No excuses. I showed up, hair still damp from a shower, wearing jeans and a hoodie with a subtle pride pin on the sleeve. The one I'd bought at a rally in Columbus but never wore around her. The diner was a relic. Vinyl booths cracked like old leather, air thick with bacon grease and percolator coffee. Rick waved from a corner table, 2 stacks already steaming, drowned in syrup. We ate in companionable silence at first, forks scraping plates. Then he launched in, casual as checking the weather. "So, this graphic design thing, ever sketch anything for fun? Like logos or whatever?" I paused, syrup dripping from my tines. No one asked about my doodles, the ones filling margins of napkins. Swirling fonts for imaginary queer coffee shops. Icons of intertwined hands against sunset skylines. Yeah, keeps the voices quiet, you know? "Show me sometime." He grinned, wolfish, and slid a napkin across. "Doodle now. Make it a logo for Hell, Rick's Roughnecks. My crew." I laughed. First real one in weeks, and sketched. A hammer crossed with a rainbow arc, bold lines. American grit meets quiet defiance. He pocketed it, nodding approval. "Kid, you've got talent. Don't let it rust." That breakfast cracked something open. Over the next month, Rick became the anchor I didn't know I craved. Mornings, he'd bang around the kitchen at dawn, frying eggs while quizzing me on fonts. Serif versus sans, he'd joke like football plays. Afternoons, when Mom worked, he'd drag me to job sites. Massive homes rising from muddy lots, sawdust in the air like confetti. "Feel that?" he'd say, handing me a level. Straight and true. Life's the same. Find your bubble, keep it centered. Mom noticed, but sideways. "Rick's good with you," she'd say at dinner, eyes on her plate. Like a big brother. The word stung, brother, not father, not even friend. And the silences grew thorns when I mentioned Jake. Jake Harlan, art major from campus, met at a queer poetry slam in Over the Rhine. 23, lanky with freckles across his nose like constellations. Voice like smoked honey reading verses about stolen kisses in dive bars. We texted for weeks. Flirty memes. Shared playlists of Hosier and Chappell Roan. Before coffee turned to walks along the Ohio River, hands brushing accidental on purpose. "You're smiling more," Rick noted one evening. Us two on the porch swing, Mom inside folding laundry. Crickets chirped, fireflies winking like approvals. Yeah, met someone. My cheeks heated, but I pushed on. Jake, he's real. Got this way of seeing the world, like it's all poetry waiting to be inked. Rick rocked the swing, wood creaking. Good. Deserve that. Just pace it. Hearts are like decks, build slow or they warp. I nodded, but inside, it bloomed. Jake's laugh echoing in my chest. The way he'd trace my palm lines, calling them story maps. For the first time, being gay felt less like a secret and more like a song. But Ohio winters bite hard, and so did the cracks showing. Mom found a sketch I'd left out. A portrait of Jake, his eyes soft under street lamp glow. She didn't say a word at first, just slid it under a stack of bills. Then, one night, after Rick's late shift, she cornered me in the living room. TV droned infomercials, casting blue flickers on her face. Ethan, she started, voice tight as a bedsheet. This Jake. It's serious. My gut twisted. Yeah, Mom. I like him. A lot. She sighed. Heavy. Honey, I get it. You're young, exploring. But Rick, he's traditional. Church every Sunday, the whole bit. Don't push things. Okay? For the family. The words landed like slaps. Traditional. Family. As if I were the intruder. So what? Hide him? Pretend. Her eyes welled, but she blinked it back. I'm trying, Ethan. This marriage is my chance. Don't make it harder. I stormed upstairs, door slamming echoes. Rick found me later, sitting on the bed with Jake's last text glowing. Miss your sketches. Coffee tomorrow? Heart emoji. Heard the boom, Rick said from the doorway, filling the frame. She means well, kid. Scared is all. Scared of me? I spat. Of what I am. He stepped in, sitting heavy on the mattress. Nah. Scared of losing control. Been there. His hand clapped my shoulder, lingering a beat. Tell you what, bring Jake around. Sunday brunch. I'll make my famous chili. It was a truce fragile as tissue. But when Jake showed, nervous grin, thrift store sweater hugging his frame, the air shifted. Rick shook his hand firm, pulled out an extra chair. Mom smiled brittle, passing cornbread like communion wafers. Jake's knee nudged mine under the table. A secret spark. That night, as Jake and I walked him to his bus, he whispered, your stepdad's cool. Like, surprisingly. We kissed then, soft, under the porch light, tasting like possibility. But possibilities shatter. 2 weeks later, betrayal brewed in the form of Tyler Voss, Jake's ex from high school. Tyler, ex-jock, closeted king of the frat scene, the kind who hooked up in shadows then ghosted. I'd heard the stories. Jake's poetry veiled them, but never thought he'd circle back. It hit via group chat, screenshots from a party at UC. Jake, tipsy, arm around Tyler, lips too close. Just friends catching up. Jake texted me frantic at 2 a.m. You know I love you, but the damage spiderwebbed. Mom saw the notifications light up my phone at breakfast, her face paling. Ethan, maybe it's time to refocus on school, work. Rick, buttering toast, went still. Let the boy handle his heart, Sarah. Ain't our job to jury-rig it. She shot him a look sharp, pleading. Rick, please. He's fragile. Fragile. The word ignited. I shoved back my chair, plate clattering. I'm not fragile, Mom. I'm heartbroken. And you? You're just waiting for me to disappear, so your perfect life's uninterrupted. The kitchen froze, chilly from last week's souring in the air. Rick's eyes met mine, steady, stormy. Ethan. But I was gone, keys in hand, driving aimless through slushy streets toward the river. Jake's calls buzzed unanswered. Betrayal burned double. From him, from her. How could love feel so much like exile? Hours later, headlights cut the dark. Rick's truck, rumbling up beside my parked Civic. He climbed in, no preamble, thermos of coffee steaming between us. Figured you'd end up here. Place clears the head. I stared at the water, black and churning under Roebling Bridge lights. Why'd you come? Mom send you to fix me? He chuckled low. Nah, came 'cause I know that look. The one that says the world's stacked against you. He unscrewed the thermos, pouring into the lid. First love's a bastard. Twists you up, makes you question the blueprint. It's not just Jake, I admitted, voice raw. It's everything. Mom's wedding, the ignoring. Feels like I'm the punchline to a joke no one's telling. Rick nodded, sipping slow. Your mom's fighting ghosts, kid. Your dad car wreck took him when she was pregnant with you. She rebuilt alone, but scars run deep. Thinks loving hard means holding tight, even if it chokes. And you? I turned, searching his face. What's your ghost? His gaze drifted to the bridge, cables humming in wind. Had a brother, Tommy. Came out in '95, small town like mine. Folks turned on him, church, neighbors, even me at first. Too young, too scared. He left for the city, never came back. Found out later. AIDS took him in '02. I didn't make the choice to fight for him then. Won't make that mistake again. The confession landed soft, profound. Rick, stoic Rick with his tool belts and trucker hats, carrying that weight. Ethan, he said, turning full to me. Your family, gay, straight, whatever, this house, this life, is yours too. No ignoring that. Tears pricked, but I held them. Thanks. Means everything. He clapped my knee brotherly. Now call the bastard. Hear him out. Or don't. But don't let one crack topple the build. I did call later that night, parked in our driveway. Jake's voice broke over the line. Apologies tumbling like rain. Tyler had ambushed him. Old feelings stirred by booze. But it was a mistake. A ghost Jake wanted buried. I choose you, Ethan. Every time. We met at the poetry slam. Words weaving us back. His verses about fractured light. My hand in his, steady now. Mom's silence lingered. A frost. But Rick thought it inch by inch. Leaving pride stickers on the fridge. Humming show tunes with her while slipping me knowing nods. Spring crept in. Dogwoods blooming pink along our street. Jake and I sketched dreams. A joint studio in Cincinnati's queer art scene. Murals of intertwined stories on brick walls. Rick signed on as silent partner. Hauling supplies in his truck. Gruff pride in his grin. But the real storm brewed in summer heat. When Mom's past collided with our fragile peace. It started with a letter. Yellowed envelope postmarked from Pittsburgh. Slipped under the door like a summons. Mom found it during her morning coffee ritual. The one where she sat at the kitchen island scrolling nurse forums on her tablet. I was upstairs, sketching a logo for Jake's upcoming zine. A queer lit collection he'd pour his soul into. When her gasp sliced the quiet. Ethan. Rick. Her voice wobbled, paper crinkling. I bounded down, heart thudding inexplicably, to find her pale, clutching the envelope like it burned. Rick emerged from the garage, wiping grease from his hands on a rag. What's the fire, Sarah? She thrust it at him, words tumbling. It's from Aunt Clara, Dad's sister, your mom, Rick, says. Family reunion. In 2 weeks. Everyone. No excuses. His face shuddered, the easy warmth vanishing like sun behind clouds. Clara. Haven't heard from her since Tommy's funeral. He scanned the letter, jaw clenching. Figures. Now, when things are settling, Mom finished, eyes darting to me. We go. Show them we're solid. Ethan, it'll be good for you. Meet cousins. See where Rick's from. I forced a smile, but unease coiled in my gut. Pittsburgh. Steel ghosts and church steeples. The town that broke Rick's brother. And me, the gay son-in-law tag-along. Sure. Road trip sounds fun. Jake squeezed my hand later that evening. As we sprawled on my bed, posters of Basquiat and Keith Haring peeling at the edges. Nervous. His fingers traced lazy circles on my arm. Grounding. Understatement. I rolled to face him, his green eyes soft in lamplight. Rick's past is heavy. And Mom? Pushing this like it's a band-aid for us. He kissed my forehead, lingering. You've got Rick in your corner. And me. We'll FaceTime every night. Poetry readings, bad diner food, the works. The drive was a pressure cooker. Rick's truck loaded with coolers of sandwiches and sodas. Mom shotgun navigating with her phone. Me in the back sketching the passing landscape. Interstate 71 unspooling like a ribbon through cornfields and truck stops. Silence punctuated by country radio. Garth Brooks crooning about friends in low places. Rick's fingers drumming the wheel. Remember that summer in Erie? Mom ventured, glancing back. You and Dad fishing. Ethan barely a toddler? Rick's grip tightened. Yeah, good times. But his eyes in the rear view met mine, warning weariness. We arrived at dusk to a sprawling ranch house on the outskirts of Braddock. The Monongahela River sluggish nearby. Mills long shuttered like forgotten gods. Aunt Clara enveloped Mom in hugs, her peroxide curls bouncing, while uncles in polo shirts clapped Rick's back too hard. Cousins milled. Teens on phones, toddlers chasing lightning bugs, but eyes slid over me, assessing. Dinner's brisket, Clara trilled, ushering us in. The table groaned under foil trays. Potato salad, coleslaw, jello molds quivering like jellyfish. Grace was said, long and fervent, invoking blessings on this family, mended and whole. I sat between Jake. No, wait. Jake was back in Cincy working his bar shift, but I texted him a selfie. Surrounded by flannel and suspicion. Send help. His reply, channel your inner Warhol. Make it art. Conversation flowed around me. Mill closures, Steelers prospects, Rick's construction firm thriving down south. And who's this? Uncle Marty boomed, nodding at me finally. Mom jumped in, voice bright. Ethan, my boy. Artist type. Does graphics. Graphics, huh? Marty chuckled, forking brisket. Better than my kid, glued to Fortnite. You got a girl yet, son? The table hushed, forks pausing. Heat crawled up my neck. Mom's smile faltered. Rick's hand stilled on his beer. No, I said, steady as I could. Actually, I'm gay. Have a boyfriend back home. Jake. Silence, thick as the humidity. Clara's eyes widened. Marty's brow furrowed. Then, a cough, Rick, clearing his throat. Ethan's solid. Designs logos that land jobs. Jake's in poetry, smart kid. They balance each other. The pivot landed awkward, but it landed. Mom exhaled, whispering thank you to Rick under the breath. Dinner resumed, stilted, but the ice cracked. Nights blurred into family rituals. Bonfires in the backyard, sparks rising like prayers, stories of Tommy filtering through. Wild one, that boy, an aunt murmured. Always with the art books, marching in those parades in the city. Rick sat apart, nursing a whiskey, gaze on the flames. One midnight, unable to sleep on the lumpy couch, I wandered out. Rick was there, poking embers with a stick. Can't crash either? He shrugged. Ghosts keep bad hours. We sat, fire popping. You held up tonight, dropping that bomb brave. Truth's not a bomb, I said softly. Just me. He nodded, eyes reflecting orange. Tommy said that once. To me before he left. I laughed it off. Biggest regret. His voice roughened. Clara's letter? Is her way of pulling me back, making amends. But seeing you here owning your space makes me think maybe I can too. We talked till stars faded. His brother's laugh, the pride flags Tommy mailed home that Mom burned in shame. Dawn crept, and something shifted, Rick's shoulders easing, like unloading rebar from a truck. The reunion peaked Sunday, church service at St. Mary's, pews packed with echoes. Mom gripped my hand during hymns, her palms sweaty. Pastor droned on forgiveness, prodigal sons. As we filed out, Clara pulled Rick aside, voices low, then rising. You bring that boy, your stepson, and parade his lifestyle in front of family. Her whisper carried, heads turning. Rick's face hardened. Lifestyle? That's my son you're slagging, Clara. Gay or not, he's blood now. More than you ever were to Tommy. The slap echoed, Clara's hand cracking his cheek. Gasps rippled. Mom froze. I stepped forward, heart pounding. Enough! Rick's voice boomed. Calm thunder. You want mended? Start here. Accept Ethan, all of him, or we're done. Clara reeled, tears streaking. Rick, Tommy was my boy too. I failed him. But this. He softened just a fraction. Then don't fail Ethan. Or me. The drive home was quieter, but charged. Mom stared out the window, processing. You defended him, she said finally to Rick. Like that. He's family, Rick replied simple. Choice I make every day. Back in Cincinnati, the air felt lighter, dogwoods shedding petals like confetti. Jake picked me up at the airport. No, wait, we drove straight through, but reunited that night at his tiny apartment above a laundromat, washers humming below like applause. We made love. Not the frantic kind, but slow, reaffirming, bodies mapping forgiveness. Mom cornered me the next morning, kitchen smelling of pancakes, her peace offering. Ethan, about the reunion. Rick told me what Clara said, and what he did. Her eyes, red-rimmed. I should have spoken up. Back then, with you coming out. I was scared of losing you like I lost your dad. But ignoring, that was losing you anyway. Tears spilled, mutual. I love you, Mom, but I need you to see me. All of me. She hugged me fierce, flour-dusted apron against my shirt. I do. I will. Promise. Rick watched from the doorway, arms crossed, a small smile cracking. Waffles tomorrow? He asked, breaking the moment. Jake integrated seamless. Brunches where he'd read drafts aloud. Rick nodding along like a critic. Movie nights with Mom picking rom-coms. Jake and I sharing popcorn and stolen glances. My designs took off. A local queer center commissioned posters. Jake's zine launch packed with supporters. Rick hauling the banner in his truck bed. But betrayal's shadow lingered. Fall brought Tyler back, slinking into Jake's DMs with sob stories. Miss us. One drink. Jake showed me, transparent but doubt wormed. One night, after a gallery opening, my first solo exhibit, sketches of family forged, including one of Rick by the fire, Jake and I argued in the parking lot. Rain slicked the asphalt, taillights blurring red. You still talk to him? I accused, voice rising over thunder. Blocked him months ago, Jake shouted back. But you, snapping at every text, like I'm the villain. Because I am scared, okay? Of losing this. You. He stepped close, rain matting his hair. Then trust me. Like I trust you with your stepdad's midnight chats. The words stung. Jealousy I'd buried. Rick's easy camaraderie a safe harbor Jake sometimes I'd wary. It's not. But headlights swept. Rick's truck, idling. He'd followed. Gut feeling, he said later. He climbed out, umbrella blooming. Boys. Inside. Coffee's on me. At the all-night diner, neon buzzing, Rick mediated like a foreman on site. Love's messy as wet concrete. Hardens wrong if you don't level it. To Jake. Ethan's got walls from folks letting him down. Give him time. To me. Jake's choosing you daily. See that or build alone. We left arm in arm, rain easing to mist. Trust rebuilt, brick by brick. Winter holidays loomed, first as a trio plus. Mom strung lights early. Rick wrestled the tree into stand. Jake and I untangling garland, laughing at knotted stars. But Clara's shadow echoed. A call to Rick, voice trembling. Come for Christmas. Bring them. Try again. He looked to us, decision hanging. Mom nodded tentative. I did too, for him. Pittsburgh again, but softer. Clara's table set with menorah candles. Her nod to inclusivity, and a rainbow ornament on the tree. Uncle Marty clapped my back. Heard about your art, kid. Proud. Whispers of Tommy's stories, shared now with warmth. That night, bonfire redux, Rick pulled me aside. Made my choice back then with you at the reunion. But today, choosing this us, all of us. Every damn day. I hugged him, fierce, the father I gained, not born. Thanks, Dad. The word slipped, natural as breath. He stiffened, then softened, clapping my back. Any time, son. Back home. Snow blanketing Cincinnati. Jake and I walked the river, hands linked open. Mom and Rick hosted New Year's. Fireworks over the skyline. Toasts to choices that stick. But climax brewed in the new year. Betrayal's final twist. February frost etched the windows like lace when the call came. Jake's phone, vibrating insistent on the nightstand at 3 a.m. I stirred, arms slung over his waist, his warmth the only anchor in the dark. He groaned, fumbling to answer, voice thick with sleep. Tyler? What the? I bolted upright, heart slamming. Tyler. Again. Jake's face drained as he listened. Sitting up. Sheets pooling. Slow down. You're. Where? Hospital. Pause. Eternal. Pittsburgh? Okay. I'm coming. He hung up, eyes wide on mine. Guilt, panic, sorrow swirling. Tyler's crashing. Overdose. His folks called me emergency contact from high school. Said, he asked for me. The room spun. Betrayal sharp as glass. And you're going? Now? After everything? Ethan, he's dying. I can't. Jake's hand reached, but I jerked away. Can't what? Choose? Again. Words lashed, born of fear. Go then. Be his hero. He dressed frantic. Hoodie zipped over pajamas. Keys jingling. At the door he turned, tears streaking. I love you. This doesn't change that. I'll call from the road. The door clicked shut, engine rumbling fade. I curled fetal, sobs racking. Hours till dawn. Jake sighed cold as accusation. Morning found me hollow, coffee bitter untouched. Mom knocked soft, entering with worry lines. Jake left early? Everything okay? I shook my head, spilling the mess. Tyler's ghost, Jake's dash. She sat beside, hand on mine. Oh, honey, that's heavy. Rick lumbered in, sensing storm. Heard the truck peel out. What's brewing? I recounted, voice flat. He listened, no judgment. Then, give him space to be human. Doesn't mean he's choosing wrong. But it feels like it, I whispered. Like I'm always second. Rick's eyes, eerie storm, held mine. Second still in the race, kid. And you're winning art show buzz, that mural gig downtown. Don't let one skid wreck the track. His words anchored, but doubt gnawed. Days blurred. Shifts at the coffee shop mechanical. Sketches jagged. Jake texted updates, tie stable but bad. Miss you. I replied curt, walls up. Week 2. Rick dragged me to a job site. A community center remodel in Walnut Hills. Queer youth hub. Heard they're hiring artists. Your wheelhouse. The foreman. A burly dyke named Lena with tattoos snaking arms. Eyed my portfolio. Love the grit. Can you mural the lobby? Theme. Chosen families. I nodded, pulse quickening. Chosen. The word echoed Rick's confessions. Nights, Jake called, voice ragged from hospital vigils. Tyler. Pills and booze. Closeted shame boiling over. He's fighting Ethan. For once, facing it. Jake's exhaustion bled through, but so did resolve. I need this closure. For him. For me. Then home, to you. I softened, inching. Just come back whole. Pittsburgh gripped him longer, Tyler's rehab stint, family interventions. Mom hosted boys' nights. Rick and me, pizza and Steelers game. His commentary a distraction. See that blitz? Life's like that. Charge hard, but cover your flank. One evening, post-game, he cracked a beer for each. Talked to Sarah. About us. Told her straight. Ethan's my son. Full stop. I stilled, foam bubbling. She'd take it. Eventually. He grinned lopsided. Women. Gotta love him. The mural consumed me. Walls blooming with figures. Hands linking across divides. Rainbows woven into steel beams. A father's silhouette embracing his queer son under Midwest sky. Jake FaceTimed midway, pixelated awe. God, Ethan. It's us. All of us. Tyler's shadow lifted mid-March. Jake returned, hollow-cheeked but eyes clear. We met at the river, spring thaw swelling waters. He hugged me bone crush, whispering, chose life, chose you. Reunion was tentative. Walks rebuilding rhythm. Poetry slams where his verses honored ghosts. Tyler's fight, Tommy's memory. Redemption's not erasure, he read, voice steady. It's carrying the scar like a badge. Mom invited him to Easter brunch, ham-glazed honey, deviled eggs devious. Rick carved, passing plates with winks. Kids looking healthier. Good work, Jake. Post-meal in the garden, Mom pulled me aside. Tulips nodded vibrant. Proud of you, Ethan. Handling this, gracefully. Learned from the best. I nodded to Rick, tossing a frisbee with Jake. Laughter booming. April showers birthed May blooms. My mural unveiling a gala. Lena toasting Ethan's vision. Families forged, not flawless. Jake's arm around me, Mom snapping photos, Rick in the crowd. Thumbs up. But conflict crested in June heat. Betrayal's cruel encore. It struck via email. From Clara, subject, Family Matters. Rick read it at breakfast, face ashen. Clara's sick, cancer, wants me there, end of life. But, conditions. Mom leaned in, reading over shoulder. What conditions? He exhaled heavy. Forgive the past. But, distance from influences. Means you, Ethan. Says it's for healing, no drama. Rage boiled. Drama? I'm not a phase. Mom's hand trembled on his. Rick, we go. Show her your hole with us. He shook head. Can't force that. But I won't hide him. Not for her, not anyone. The ultimatum hung. Pittsburgh or peace. Rick paced nights, truck idling midnight drives. I overheard him on the porch, phone to ear. Clara, listen, Ethan's my son. Gay don't change that. You want me? Take the package deal. Her reply faint, but cutting. Then goodbye, brother. He hung up, shoulders slumped. I stepped out, fireflies dancing. Don't. For me. His eyes met. Fierce. Ain't just you, kid. It's the choice I should have made for Tommy. For me. Clara passed quiet, hospice whispers. Rick mourned private. Extra shifts. Garage tinkering till dawn. We rallied Mom's casseroles, Jake's playlists of Springsteen ballads. My sketch of her and Tommy, ethereal, gifted framed. Funeral was small, steel town somber. Rick spoke. Clara fought hard. Loved fierce even when scared. We choose grace now, for her. For us. Back home, healing wove slow. Jake's zine launched Summer Solstice. Stories of chosen kin, my cover art starring. Sales soared, funding a road trip, us four RV crammed. Route 66 echoes to California coast. Waves crashed Big Sur, salt spray baptizing. Rick barbecued clams, Mom toes in sand. Jake and I hiked cliffs, hands clasped, futures sketched in sea foam. One sunset, Rick pulled me to the fire pit. Made my choice, Ethan. Every step. You. I grinned, arm around Jake. Locked in. Humanity's thread. Not perfection, but persistence. Betrayal scarred, but choices mended. Family. Forged in firelight. Unbreakable. Wait, no, the story arcs higher. Climax awaits. July's swelter clung like regret when the real fracture hit. Not from ghosts, but fresh wounds. Jake's zine success drew eyes. A lit agent from New York, emails buzzing about expanding the voice. He paced our shared apartment now. Mine and his, sublet above the laundromat, walls papered in my murals. It's huge, Ethan, he said, laptop glowing. Retreat in the Berkshires. Month-long. Networking, writing. My stomach nodded, fork pausing over takeout lo mein. A month? Now? When the center's commissioning the expansion mural. His eyes pleaded. This could be it. Book deal, tours. For us. The word twisted. Or just you, jetting off while I grind here. Hurt flashed. That's not fair. You've got Rick, Mom, your anchor. I shoved the carton away. Anchor? Or reminder I'm stuck. The fight escalated. Voices echoing off thin walls. Neighbors banging brooms. He packed light, duffel zipping accusation. At the door, kiss goodbye tasted ash. Love you. Call every day. Door shut. Silence screamed. Days dragged. Coffee shifts blending into mural strokes. Rainbows bleeding gray. Mom noticed at brunch her and Rick's new Sunday staple. Jake's chair empty. He'll be back, she soothed, passing scones. Absence sharpens appetite. Rick grunted agreement. But later, garage summons. Me on stool, him under the truck hood. Wrench clanking. Heard the row. Hearts in vice grips. Worse? I admitted, picking at a rag. Feels like Tyler Redux. Him choosing ambition over this. He emerged, wiping brow. Ambition's a drive, not a ditch. Jake's building for two, trust that, or you're the one ditching. His wisdom landed, but roots shallow. Text from Jake. Wrote a piece about you. Miss your hands. I replied, sparse, walls thickening. Mid-month crisis. Call from Lena at the center. Ethan, funding snag. Need the expansion draft ASAP, or we pivot artists. Panic surged. Rick overheard. Phone down. Road trip. Me and you. Deliver it personal. We drove dawncrack. Truck humming I-71 North. Portfolio on dash. Ever think about expanding? He asked, passing beef jerky. Your art could go big. Galleries, prints. I laughed bitter. With what? Jake's off conquering. Mom's shifts endless. With grit. He glanced over. Like mine. Started swinging hammers at 16. Now, own the firm. Choices stack, son. Pittsburgh detour. Unplanned. Gut pull. We stopped at Tommy's grave. Small plot in the Catholic yard. Weeds tamed. Rick knelt, tracing headstone. Miss you. Bro, wish you'd seen this kid. He nodded at me. He gets it. Turning pain to pigment. Emotion choked. You taught me that. Back on road, catharsis flowed. Stories of my dad's fishing tales. Mom's diner hustles. By delivery, Lena hugged fierce. Saved us. And hey, spot for Jake's reading next month. Home. Jake's flight landed early. Surprise. Duffel thumping my door. Couldn't stay away. We collided. Apologies tumbling. Bodies reaffirming under sheets. Tender, not torrid, souls sinking. But harmony's fragile. August scorched, and Mom's health cracked. Hospital call mid-shift. Fall at work. Twisted knee but scans. Concerning. We rallied. Rick canceling jobs, me shuttling, Jake reading bedside from his manuscript. Diagnosis dropped. Early rheumatoid arthritis. Flare from stress. Years waitressing, she whispered, for dripping. Bodies rebelling. Guilt gnawed. Our family fractures her load? Rick held her hand, voice steel soft. We got this. Team. Rehab blurred weeks. Physical therapy in a strip mall gym. Me pushing her wheelchair. Jake charming nurses with poems. One evening. Waiting room. Rick confided. Scared. Kid. First time since Tommy. I gripped his arm. We're choosing fight. Together. Turning point. Mom's discharge party. Backyard barbecue. Neighbors mingling. Jake grilled. Rick mixed margaritas. She raised glass, voice steady. To choices. The hard ones. Like seeing my son. Both sons fully. Tears rimmed. Progress. September leaves turned. Jake's agent buzzed. Book deal. Advance decent. We'll tour together. You design covers? Elation crested. But undercurrents stirred. Tyler surfaced, rehab graduate, clean, emailing Jake. Grateful. Coffee? As friends. Jake showed me transparent. Tell him no. I exhaled. Go. Close the circle. But come back mine. He did, coffee platonic, Tyler's thanks a full stop. Chose recovery. Jake reported. Home with takeout. Like I choose us. October harvest moon. Climax brewed unexpected. Rick's firm bid big. Downtown high-rise Reno. Queer inclusive build for a non-profit. Need a designer. He said over cider at the orchard. You in. Me? Partnership whispers. But doubt. I'm no architect. Your vision, he countered. I build bones. You breathe soul. Mom beamed. Family firm. Fitting. Excitement hummed. But betrayal's blade flashed. During sight walk, foreman, old Pittsburgh crony of Rick's, muttered. Heard about the stepkid. That right? Gaze in the blueprint. Rick whirled. Face thunder. That's my son, Hell. And yeah, problem. Hal backpedaled, but poison seeped. Whispers on sites. Bids questioned. Client called. Reputation risk. Pull the queer angle. Rick refused. Voicemail fierce. Our design's inclusive. Take it or walk. They walked. Firm teetered, payrolls tight. Subs grumbling. Blame circled. Me? My visibility? Guilt crushed. Your choice, Dad. Cost you everything. He shook head. Office desk piled contracts. Choice? Hell, this is the win. Standing tall. Like for Tommy. For you. Jake rallied. Zine Network crowdfunding. Rick's rainbow builds. Donations poured, queer community fierce, straits allying. Mom's cane tapped resolve. We pivot. Smaller jobs. Ethan's art center. Expand there. Climax peaked board meeting. Investors balking. Rick presenting solo. This firm's ethos. Build true. Inclusive or bust. Walkouts threatened, but holdouts stayed. Clara's old friend. A widow. Pledging. For the brother we lost. Build on. Deal salvaged, scaled but solid. Rick hugged me post-meet. Rare. Your designs sealed it. Proud. November chill. Thanksgiving table grown turkey. Jake's pie lopsided. Toasts flowed. Mom to health. Jake to words. Me to art. Rick to choices that choose back. December danced in, lights twinkling. Jake's book tour loomed, NYC launch. Me tagging for cover reveal. Rick gifted tools. Sketchpad leatherbound. Engraved, forge on. But eve of departure. Storm broke. Mom's flare returned. Fever spiking. Hospital again, Rick pacing ER. Go, he urged. Tours your launch. We handle. Torn, I boarded. Guilt passenger. NYC glittered. Launch packed. Jake reading our story. Cover my swirl of hands. Applause thundered. But texts buzzed. Mom stable. Love you. Return flight. Resolve hardened. Home, her room quiet, I sat vigil. Chose you. I whispered. Always. Humanism bloomed. Not flawless arcs, but resilient weaves. Betrayals taught. Choices healed. Yet finale whispers. Tragic tint or hopeful glow. January's bite softened to February thaw. Mom's rehab a marathon. Aqua therapy in heated pools. Splashes echoing determination. Jake and I alternated drives. His manuscript edits scribbled in margins during waits. Rick's firm stabilized. New contracts for eco-builds. My designs infusing pride motif subtle. Interlocking beams like linked arms. One crisp afternoon, post-therapy, Mom gripped my arm in the parking lot. Cane steady. Ethan, walk with me? Just us. We ambled the lot's edge. Cars humming by. Been thinking, she started, breath fogging. About choices. Mine mostly wrong ones. Ignoring you after the wedding, the silences. Scared you'd leave like your dad. In a wreck of my making. I stopped, gravel crunching. Mom, Dad's accident. Wasn't you. And me? I'm here. Gay, messy. But yours. She teared, smiling watery. I know. Now. Rick showed me choosing means seeing. All facets. Hand squeeze. Proud son. Of your art, your heart. Jake too. Bring him for dinner. Real one, no eggshells. Elation swelled. Home, I texted Jake. Dinner invite. Official. His reply about time. Hard eyes. Evening unfolded magic. Table set linen. Candles flickering. Not romance, but reclamation. Rick grilled steaks medium rare. Mom's potato au gratin bubbling. Jake arrived flowers, daisies for Mom. A sketchpad for Rick. Conversation flowed. Tour tales, firm winds. Mom's nurse gossip laced laughter. Post-dinner, dishes soaking. Rick pulled Jake and me to the garage. His sanctuary, tools gleaming orderly. Boys huddle. He cracked sodas, leaning on workbench. Heard about the book sequel. Need a designer. Jake grinned. Thought you'd never ask. Cover 2, family themes. I nodded, ideas sparking. Silhouettes against dawn, choices as horizons. Count me in, Rick said. Silent partner again. Clink of cans, packed sealed. Spring equinox, mural expansion unveiled. Center lobby alive with stories. Youth portraits, parent embraces, stepfathers standing sentinel. Gala swelled. Donors, press, our clan front row. Lena toasted, Ethan's vision. Choices that build bridges. Climax's echo faded, but conflict's last gasp. Tyler's wedding invite to Jake, innocuous but laced. Friends honor. No drama. Jake pondered. Then, RSVP no. Chose my path. Relief washed. Proud. Summer solstice, Jake's book dropped. Chosen ink, bestseller whisper. Tour whirlwind, me co-piloting. Designs for events, hand in his under podium lights. Cincinnati stop. Homecoming, Mom and Rick in audience. Signs waving, our boys. Post-reading, signing lines snaking. Rick cornered me backstage. Your mom's got news. Eyes twinkled. She beamed later, over victory pie. Remission talks. Bodies listening, for once. Cheers erupted. Human triumph. Not conquest, but harmony. Fall foliage tour, we detoured Pittsburgh, intentional. Tommy's grave, fresh flowers. Clara's old house, sold but memory marked. Rick spoke to Wind. Chose well, bro. We're good. November rain. Jake proposed. Not ring, but sketch. Our hands intertwined. Words etched. Choose me always? Tears, yes. Mom's ring repurposed. Dad's band. Hers fused with rainbow inlay. Rick walked me aisle, no commitment ceremony, Riverside, Ohio lapping applause. Vows simple. Jake's poetry. My promise. Chose you in shards, choose you in whole. Rick's toast. To choices, the ones that ignore the noise, embrace the storm. Winter wedding, intimate, snow-dusted. Mom in wheelchair but radiant. Rick best man gruff-teared. Dance floor swayed. Hosier crooning, bodies close, hearts open. Years folded, firm thrived. Inclusive builds dotting skylines. Jake's series soared. My cover's iconic. Mom's health steady, volunteering at the center. One anniversary, porch swing creaking, Rick joined, older, grayer, but oak solid. Made the right choice, kid. That glass at the wedding? Shattered illusions. Built better. I nodded, Jake's head on shoulder. Every day. Human end. Not fairy dust, but forged steel. Love's quiet revolution. Choices echoing eternal.